Hey guys, Kira here, and welcome to another Souls commentary. Today, I'll be beating Elden Ring for the first time. Before we get too far in, I want to share two important details. At the time of recording this, I've played through Elden Ring a second and third time, and I'm currently working on a challenge run video. The playthrough I'll be sharing is not a challenge, therefore I'll be using every tool at my disposal, and learning a lot as I progress. With that out of the way, let's begin. In an effort to use weapon types I typically avoid, I chose the hero class and its battle axe to start. Despite its aesthetic and reach leaving much to be desired, this axe's damage and speed made it perfect for Margit, who makes a point to punish slow attacks. Also, charged heavies look and feel heavy when you use an axe, which makes you feel pretty cool jumping around with it. A while back, before I'd played Elden Ring, a coworker told me he dropped the game after Margit due to the sheer disappointment of only getting a talisman slot for defeating such a hard boss, which took him hours. My experience in DS1 and 3 taught me I should spend some time preparing and exploring before fighting an area boss, but it still made me laugh to see that little bag as all my spoils. Even though I had a ton of fun with the battle axe, its damage started to fall off hard as soon as Godric. I know at least a couple people will wonder why I don't switch to the Stormhawk or try dual-wielding axes, and all I can say is that at the time, I wasn't satisfied with the moveset or dual-wielding, and Stormhawk's Ash of War. I think I'd like to revisit these options in an axe-only playthrough someday, but that said, I switched over to one of my favorite weapon types, the halberd. I actually thought about calling this video a love story to halberds, their range, their damage, their ashes of war, and of course the way they look good on any build. That makes halberds in any game a 10 out of 10 for me. It just so happens that you get an incredibly strong halberd right out of the gate, which makes Godric a piece of cake. At this point, my stats were messy to say the least. I allocated a lot of dex for the axes, but my new halberd scaled better with faith or strength. Knowing this, I rushed to Renala to try and gain her Great Rune, which allows for rebirth. With a little patience and a couple close calls, Renala went down without much of a fight. I heard about the Knight Rider glaive at this point and decided to switch it out for the Golden Halberd, whose partial holy damage was already starting to make worse and worse of a weapon choice throughout the run. I completed a couple of bosses necessary for quests and aura building, including this deer, who was one of my favorite fights, except for when he went wheel mode and crushed my dreams, and got back to work progressing the main story. One huge benefit of my Knight Rider's glaive was that it could be infused with any Ash of War, and gained an S scaling when made heavy. Margit was my first sort of roadblock. I won't lie, he had me banging my head against a wall a couple of times, but eventually I learned his moves, was patient, and pulled it all together in an excruciating 6-minute battle.
Yes! 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 Oh my god! Yes.
Astel, unfortunately, I could only try once after getting that high for beating Margit, before I had to go to work. Naturally, I was silently scheming about how I could overpower Astel for most of my shift, and per usual, the answer was a pure physical beatdown, aka what I like to call the blender. Nothing gets me hooked like perfectly executing a plan against a daunting boss. 10 out of 10, do not want to fight again. Up to this point, I had been playing a couple hours every day, maybe in the morning, maybe at night, but now I'm hooked, and the all-nighters were soon to begin. The blender. Pain. And the fire giant. Excluding the visual confusion which comes from fighting a boss of this size, the fire giant was surprisingly chill. The power of the blender was simply too strong. 10 out of 10, have fought again.
Let's go. 5th try.
Here's a cool thing that happened during the Duelist. Also, did I mention I hate the Duelist? 0 out of 10. Malekith. Hard boss. If you want the easy win, hide behind a pillar, and hope for bleed when you pop out. Moral? No.
Let's go.
Rykard's fight will make you feel like the protagonist in a shonen anime.
There we go.
It gets an S, for Snake of course.
Oh, let's frick.
After Commando Nile and Sewer Moog,
Just hope. Yeah.
I was back onto the main story, and up against the formidable foe, Horaloo. If there's one thing this man has going for him, it's his intimidation. In exactly 0 of the 3 playthroughs I've currently done, have I given this guy a fair fight. In fact, I think he's given me a complex. I better work on that so I don't get made fun of by my friends. No way. No way that was the second to last battle, right?
Alright.
After cleaning up a couple of extra fights, I was ready to become the Elden Lord. But first, does anyone know how the Red Wolf in Raya Lucaria and Ratagon are related? I mean, the Red Wolf is called the Red Wolf of Ratagon. And there's one in Nokron too, but why? Anyway, feel free to educate me in the comments. Ratagon, a challenging foe, only made easy by my antics. I've seen people parry the heck out of this guy, and posture break him repeatedly. But me and my glaive were on a journey together, and I refused to change my strategy, even if it meant my mimic had to do most of the work for me. This fight was very cinematic, and the Elden Beast was a blast to chase after, in its beautiful arena. Thank you, Ratagon, for perpetuating a system of governments that is so objectable that I can fight dozens of radicals, rising up to defeat you, and not a single person with an army will come to stop me. You've done well. Please, do it again.
Nice.
Moog was by far my favorite fight in the entire game. The simplest way I could put it is that the fight felt fair. Moog doesn't have any insane or undodgeable attacks. Whether I got a hit or took a hit was the direct result of my mechanical skills and memorization. But this is a good point to talk about a few of my dissatisfactions in this playthrough. My goal from the start was to get a feel for everything Elden Ring had to offer by using every tool at my disposal. The consequence of this was the occasional fight which, against all expectations, was too easy. I felt this against Malekith when I cowered behind my summons. Then again when Melania went down second try. And now that I think about it, I still do this to Horaloo because I'm terrified of that guy. Is this really what I wanted? I beat the game. Why does it feel so bad? I guess after all these years it's this yearning to experience the game in its purest form, to take on each opponent head to head, no matter what they throw at you, and to be able to win. That's my favorite part. It's the reason I've played 2 more times, and while I'll play many more in the future. It's a truly great game that not only challenges the player, but makes them come back again and again, earnestly each time, until they can meet their own expectations, until they've done it perfectly. Thank you for watching, stay safe out there, and this is Kira, logging off.